Yeah, very good morning, everyone. Hello. Okay. Well, no, actually, the problem with YouTube Live, it seems today we don't have a YouTube line, but once the class is completed, the video gets uploaded onto the YouTube. Today we have a network issue. We cannot provide the YouTube Live, but once the class is finished, we are going to upload this video on the YouTube. Okay, fine. So, what's your discussion? Our discussion is about the C Sharp 8 features. I explained you using declarations. I explained you reading read-only members. I explained you pattern matching enhancements. And in the pattern matching enhancements, we discussed on switch expressions and property patterns. Switch expressions and the property patterns. So today we'll talk about tuple patterns and positional patterns. Tuple patterns and the positional patterns. We'll discuss about these two today. What are like tuple patterns? Tuple patterns in the sense like pattern comparison with multiple values, like a pattern comparison with multiple values. Okay, so we learned about the property patterns and the switch patterns. Today I'll talk about the tuple patterns and the positional patterns. What are tuple patterns means? Basically, suppose you wanted to do comparison on anything with a multiple conditions. Patterns, I'm adding a new class here. Right? We'll add a class here called as patterns 4.cs. Patterns 4.cs. So yesterday, I shown you like how to simplify this code without writing if customer.state is equals to AP, else if, like this without writing all the code. I said a simple option to you. What state AP, state Telangana, state Tamil Nadu, like this we can just go for writing the code. Today I just wanted to write the code here. What is it is like I wanted to know like the taxing for a product, for a particular state. Last class we talked what are they? The tax basically varies from state to state. The tax basically varies from state to state. When the tax is going to vary from state to state, when the tax is going to vary from state to state, here comes the problem. What is the problem? The problem is I just wanted to know for a particular product what is the tax now. So I'm going to give two inputs. What are the two inputs? The first input is product name, and the second input is state. If I send a product name and state, it has to tell me the tax of that particular product in the state. Did you understand? I will send a product name and a state, and when I send a product name and state, it has to tell me the tax of this product in this state now. So how much tax is going to be collected for this particular product in this particular state? This is what I wanted to know. Okay. So this is what exactly the requirement is all about. This is what exactly the requirement is all about. So I wanted to write a method. What is that? Public static string get tax by product. Get tax by product. Okay, two things I'm passing: string product and string state. So if I want to write this code in a normal scenario, suppose the product and the state, if I want to write a code in the normal scenario, how do you write? If product is equals to petrol, and state is equals to AP. Here I want to say return dollar tax for the name of the product in the name of the state is some value 12.6%. 12.6% is the tax rate now. Okay, 12.6% is the tax rate. Same way, I just wanted to take different values. Petrol, state is Telangana. Think like 12.8%. The state is Tamil Nadu. The tax is going to be 12.9%. Same way. This is diesel. And now the variation of the tax comes into picture. For diesel, this is 15.8%, and for diesel they're charging like 15.7%, and they are charging like 15.3%. Like this variation of the prices. Okay. Else what? Return information unknown. Else information unknown. Okay. Yeah. I'm just writing an if else condition. I'm going to. Audio cannot be controlled from my side here. Look at your settings. Look on your particular settings. You'll be finding an option called join with mobile audio. In the left hand side, you'll be finding an option called join with mobile audio. You're required to select that option. Okay, so this is the code here. This is the code. Are you clear with this code? Are you clear with this? A simple if conditions, and I'm writing the code now. Now let me come to the main method. Static void main. Now call this method. Call this method. Get tax by product. Get tax by product. And I'm calling it now. I'm passing the product name as petrol, and the state is Tamil Nadu. The state is Tamil Nadu. Okay. Console dot read line. So patterns 4. Run. Yeah, sorry. Console dot right line. You got your output. Watch it carefully. You got your output. Okay. Now this code, I can write in simple way. How can I write? Watch it. Another way of writing the code. Copy this code now. Okay. I'll rewrite this code for you in a different style. Watch. Using pattern matching. We're going to write this code by using pattern matching. So how do you write this code by using pattern matching? Okay, watch. Return. And now our comparison is not with one value. Remember, our comparison is two values. What are the two values? Product, comma, state. And we call this as a tuple. We call this as a tuple. If at all you're not aware of tuples, you watch my C# 7 videos. You watch my C# 7 videos in the YouTube channel. In our YouTube channel, watch the C# 7 videos. You'll get an idea what is a tuple. So this is called as a tuple. Switch. Okay. And now you can simplify the things now. How? Curly braces. And there is no need of this much code now. There is no need of this much code now. Okay, how you can write the code, Petrol, comma, petrol, comma, AP, lambda expression, finish. Okay, and here we need to use a comma. And you can repeat the same for all the other things now. Petrol, comma, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, 12.8% and 12.9%. Next. And the next condition is diesel, diesel, diesel. And here we're just going to write 15.8%, 15.7%, and 15.3%. And finally here what do you write? Underscore, underscore, unknown information. See the code now. The same code, what you are written here, 6 conditions here, 6 different conditions. Now also have 6 conditions, but the code became simplified now. So what happens? The product and state will come here. If they match with this two, this statement will execute. And wherever it matches, the appropriate statement will execute. If it doesn't match, you will get the output as information unknown. So these are called as property patterns. See, last class I said you one point. Remember, day by day, your code is becoming much simple and easier. Audio, that's what I'm telling you here, all of you in the left-hand side of your screen, you will be finding an option, use mobile audio. Use mobile audio. So I require to use that use mobile audio option. Connect by using mobile audio option will be there. You just choose that option. If anyone is not getting it, that is only the problem. Come on, are you clear, people? Are you clear with this? What is it? A tuple pattern. Are you clear with the tuple pattern? So this is what we call as a tuple pattern. See, last class we discussed the point. What is it? Day by day, they are trying to make the code simple and easier. They are trying to make the code simple and easier. Simple and easy way of writing the code has been coming into picture. So we are just making the things much more simple and much more easier to implement. That's the advantage with the tuple patterns. Next, the next option what we just have is going to be positional patterns. Positional patterns. So it is going to be a positional pattern what we are just going to have. So what are these positional patterns? What are these positional patterns? Let us try to understand about this one. Positional patterns. Okay, let's see. Let's look into the concept of the positional patterns and what is the need of the positional patterns. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, please. Okay. Yeah, see, basically this is default. This is default. If at all you want to give default. See, yesterday I shown you about the default. Yesterday, default is single option. Yesterday, default is single value only, because one value. But today we are comparing with one value or two values. We are comparing with two values. This is one value, this is one value. So that's why I should use two underscores here. So this is taken as a default. So they are all going to be taken as if now, and this is like a else or a default. That is the use of this underscore underscore. Array, your comparison is with two values, no, petrol and AP, product name and state. You're doing a comparison with the product name and a state. So product is this one, state is this one. So we can also two values now. One is product and one is state. Okay, well, the next thing is going to be a positional pattern. Positional patterns. So what are these positional patterns? What are these positional patterns means? Actually, we can just get the access to the values with the help of the coordinates. With the help of the coordinates. With the help of the coordinates, we will get access to the values. With the help of the coordinates, we are just going to get access to the values. That's called as positional pattern. Generally, we use it in the case of a figure. We use it in the case of the figures. Okay, suppose you take a circle. You take a circle. For a circle, okay, you take a circle here. And the circle, this is the center point, and these are coordinate for quadrants. Each path is called as a quadrant. This is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. So like we just count them as first, second, third, and the fourth quadrant. First quadrant, second, third, and the fourth quadrant. Okay. So everything is going to have four quadrants here. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. So in mathematics, we learned about it. So basically, a circle is the center point, origin, and this is called as the first quadrant, the second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. Like this, we'll just have the four quadrants here. Okay. So about this now. Patterns 5. I'm writing a class called patterns5.cs. So in this class, what I'm doing first, I'm going to define you a class, a public class point. Point is a class. And the point is going to have two attributes. One is the x coordinate. One is going to be the second coordinate, y. And when defining a constructor, public point int x comma int y. See, generally, how do you initialize this x and y? How do you initialize this x and y here? X is equals to x and y is equals to y. X is equals to x, y is equals to y. Okay. You can simplify this assignment here. You can simplify this particular assignment. You can directly go for assigning like this. This is another style of assignment. Yeah? You can do like this also. You can do an assignment like this also. Okay, next. In this, I'm also writing a method called as deconstructor. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. And what is the deconstruct? Deconstruct is a deconstructor method. This is a new feature added in C# 7. This is a new feature added in C# 7. So what is the use of this deconstruct method? The deconstructor methods are basically used for exposing a value. Means constructors are used for taking the inputs and deconstructors are used for returning the outputs. So basically these are output parameters, and what do you write in the constructor? That will be reverse in a deconstructor. Here, yeah. What you write in a constructor, here you will be having a reverse in this particular thing. And again, if you are not aware of deconstructors, watch my videos. Okay, all these things are just basically who are learning the things right now knows about the deconstructors. If you are an old student, you may not having any idea. So watch my C# 7 videos. In that, I given you a clear explanation about a deconstructor. So constructors are used for bringing values into the class, and deconstructors are used for taking the values out of the class. These two will be taking the results outside. See, these two will bring a value and these two will take a value. Okay, next. Every circle, okay, if you take a circle, the circle has 4 quadrants. We discussed it: first, second, third, and fourth quadrant. First, second, third, and the fourth quadrant. So here I'm going to define one enum. What is the enum? Public enum quadrant, and it has 4 options here: unknown, origin, 1, 2, 3, 4. Unknown value, origin. Origin means the center point. The origin is the center point now. And apart from that, the 4 quadrants of the circle now. First quadrant, second quadrant, third, and the fourth quadrant. So all these are the values I defined one enum now. Unknown means if you give a wrong value, it will return you unknown. If you write in wrong value, it will return you unknown. Okay. And now watch it. Now when I'm going to use this, I'm writing a method in this class. What is the method? Static. The return type is quadrant. Find quadrant. For this, I'm pointing a parameter, point. And now you look at it. If I pass a point takes two parameters, C, x coordinate and y coordinate. Based on the x and y coordinate, it has to tell me which quadrant it is. Suppose I pass 0, 0. If I pass 0, 0, which quadrant? If I pass 0, 0, which quadrant? Now tell me in this list, if 0, 0 is passed, it comes under which quadrant? Origin, not one, origin. It is going to be origin. That is the origin. Like this, based on the values what I pass for x and y, it has to tell me the quadrant value. Did you understand the requirement? Based on the values I pass here, x and y, it has to tell me the appropriate value. What do I pass? Based on that, it has to tell me whether origin or first quadrant or second quadrant or third quadrant or fourth quadrant. If I give any wrong values, it has to tell me unknown. It has to tell me unknown now. Okay, so this is what exactly the requirement is. This is what exactly the requirement is. Okay, so basically find quadrant, and for this you're passing a point, and based on the point it works here. And now see the code. Return what I'm taking, point, switch. Okay, switch. And now 0, 0. If I pass 0, 0. Just now you said, what is the value? Quadrant dot origin. Quadrant dot origin. Okay, next. I'm saying where x comma y. Where x comma y. When x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0. If x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, this is going to be quadrant dot 1. Quadrant dot 1. Next, where x comma y, when x is less than 0 and y is greater than 0. Then that is quadrant 2. Then that is quadrant 2. Okay, where x comma y, when x is less than 0 and y is less than 0. Quadrant dot 3, where x comma y, when x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. Quadrant dot 4. Next, simply default. What is default? Quadrant dot unknown. Quadrant dot unknown. Quadrant dot unknown. Okay, now understand. See, this is the 0, 0 coordinate. X greater than 0, y greater than 0. X greater than 0, y is greater than 0. So if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, that is the first quadrant now. That is the first quadrant. Now see, x is less than 0, but y is greater than 0. X is less than 0 and y is greater than 0. That is the second quadrant. Now see, x is less than 0, y is also less than 0. Means if you see, simple common sense here, this is the x coordinate. If it is greater than means this is the position. This is greater than means this is the position. Less than means you go back. Back is less than here, back is less than. See? If at all you go back of the x, if you go back of the x, that is going to become, that is just going to become the second coordinate. Now see, this is going to be the third quadrant. This is the third quadrant. Why? Back of x, back of y, back of x, back of y, minus negative values. And this is the fourth quadrant. This is the fourth quadrant. Why this is fourth quadrant? See, your back of x or top of x. Your back of x or top of x. Yeah. This is back of x. Top or back? Someone is telling back. This is top of x here. This is x, no? This is top of x. Srikanth and Sai, are you clear? This is top of x. Means positive or negative? Positive or negative? If this is the 0 coordinate, this is a positive here. This is positive. This is positive. Okay? So now understand. X positive, Y positive. X positive, Y positive means this one. X positive, Y positive means this one. Okay? Next, X negative, Y positive. X negative, Y positive. This one. X and Y both are negative. Both are back. This coordinate. X positive, Y negative. Fourth quadrant. Are you clear? Simple mathematics here, we learned in the school days. These are the quadrants now. If this is greater than 0, if x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. X and y both are greater than 0. First quadrant. X less than, Y greater than, second coordinate. X less than 0, Y less than 0, third quadrant. X greater than 0, Y less than 0, fourth quadrant. So that's what you can check it out. That's what I've written. X greater than 0, Y greater than 0, first quadrant. X less than 0, Y greater than 0, second quadrant. X less than 0, Y also less than, third quadrant. X greater than 0 and Y less than 0, the fourth quadrant. And anything wrong, unknown value. Default is unknown value. Okay, now you see, come to static void main, static void main. And here I'm just going to create the instance of, I'm going to create the instance of the point class. Point is equals to new point. And I'm passing a value 5, 10. Now tell me 5, 10 means which quadrant? 5, 10 means which quadrant? First quadrant, perfect. Quadrant of point, quadrant of point quadrant of point, point dot x point dot x and point dot y point dot x and point dot y is here I'm writing find quadrant of point. See the output. I'll give an explanation first. Console.readline. Console.readline. What's the output? I'll explain. Patterns file. Quadrant 1. Okay. Now you'll be wondering here, what is that? And how this code is going to execute. Watch it. What did you create? You created an instance of the point class. Watch carefully. You created an instance of the point class. And what did you pass? The two quadrants. And now you call the method. Where did you call find quadrant and you pass the point here now? So point contains two values. What are the two values? 5 and 10. And now the two values will come here. The two values will come here. Point contains the two values 5 and 10. And that values will be substituted into this location. When I say var x comma y, automatically you pass the point here, no? The two values of the point will come into this location. So x and y, the two values will come now. And now it checks. Is it greater than 0 and greater than y? Then it returns you this one. Like this, it keeps on checking. Like this, it keeps on checking. But now you'll have a doubt here. What the doubt is? Sir, why did you define a deconstructor here? Let me remove. You're getting error here. Why am I getting an error here? You can read. Point does not contain a definition for deconstruct and no accessible extension method deconstruct accepting something. It is telling you I don't have a deconstructor. It is telling you I don't have a deconstructor. So what is the need of a deconstructor? Deconstructor is to expose the value. Now see, when you are checking it, are you passing the value for the class or do you want to get the value from the class? When you are checking here, you want to pass a value to the class or you want to check the value based on the values you passed. I repeat again, you want to pass a value to the class or You want to get the value from the class to perform comparison. One more time telling you. You want to pass a value to the class. You want to get the values from the class. Why you want to pass here? Understand, you are checking a condition now. Means you need to get the values from the class now. Did you people understand? Are you creating instance of the class? When do you pass values to a class? Tell me. When do you pass values to a class? When you want to create an instance. Now you don't want to create an instance here. Instance is already created here. Now you want to get the values from the class now. Now you want to get the values from the class to perform a comparison. Get, not a set. Understand English? It is not setting, it is getting. You want to get the values. If you get the values only, you can do the comparison. And if you want to get the value, the deconstructor will help you in getting the value. That's why I said you, after the completion of this particular session, just watch my video on deconstructor. What is the deconstructor and what is the use of the deconstructor? This is going to expose the values. This is going to expose the values. And you are getting, how do you get, this will call the deconstructor. This will call the deconstructor. When you call the deconstructor will return the XY values to now. The deconstructor is going to return the XY values to you in this particular context now. So that value will be present for you. That value will be present for you in this particular context. The deconstructor is going to get you the appropriate value, and that value will be used in your code now. Understood the need of a deconstructor? If the deconstructor is not there, you cannot get the value from the class now. If the deconstructor is not there, you cannot get the value from the class. Otherwise, how you should write now? How you should write the code, If point.x is greater than 0 and point.y is, means if you write this code in a traditional mechanism, without using the positional patterns, okay? Shall I write in a traditional manner? Static quadrant, find quadrant, point. See how to write. If point.x is greater than 0, and point.y is greater than 0, okay, return quadrant.1. If point.x is equals to 0 and point.y is equals to 0, return quadrant.origin. Next, x less than 0, y greater than 0, quadrant.2. Next, x less than 0 and y less than 0, that is .3. Next, x greater than 0 and y less than 0, then it is quadrant.4. And finally, else, return quadrant.unknown. This is the traditional style of writing the code. But this is a new style. In the new style, am I picking each and every value? Did I write here point.x and point.y? Look, all of you. Did I write when point.x greater than 0, point.y greater than 0? I don't require to write. Why? When I write x comma y, automatically my deconstructor gets called now. My deconstructor gets called, and deconstructor will return the value, and the values written by the deconstructor will come up here automatically now. So directly you can say where x greater than 0, y greater than 0. So that is the advantage of the deconstructor. So that's why we need to use a deconstructor. See, I'll comment this code. If I comment this, now also the output will be very similar to what we just did. But that is the old style of writing the code, and this is the new style of writing the code. No, when keyword is not introduced. When keyword is in 7 only. Watch my 7 videos. That's why yesterday also I said you when keyword. Yesterday also I said you about the when keyword, if you remember or not. When I said you about the first example, yesterday only I said you the when keyword C, and I said you this is the feature of C# 7. This was introduced in C# 7. Yeah, constructor is a set, deconstructor is get. Perfect. Constructor will set the value, deconstructor will get the value. If these deconstructors are, see, deconstructors are also introduced in 7 point only. See, what I say is, yesterday only I would have said you this when I forgotten. All of you watch all my videos on C# 7. All my videos on C#. 7 videos are there here. Each video, 15 minutes video, 15 to 20 minutes. You can complete up within a day. Okay? Watch all my videos of this particular thing. Because all the 8 features are linked to 7 features. Okay? So these are the 4 different types of pattern matching things that are provided to us. So what we learned, so using completed, reading, pattern matching, switch, all these things are completed. Static local functions. Again, static local functions. First, you should understand about local functions. This local functions is also a feature in C# 7. This local function is also a feature in C# 7. So I repeat, the local functions is also a feature introduced in C# 7. What is that? Watch it. Nothing special about this this one here. There is nothing special about this. I'm writing a class here called as local functions. Yeah, we are going to post it in the YouTube. Once the class is completed, we'll post the video in the YouTube. Yeah, today only. See, yeah? I'm going to write a method here. Yesterday video was already in the YouTube. Yeah, already yesterday only live video and immediately it was posted there. Yesterday video is already available. Today's video after the class is completed will upload. I'm writing a method like this here. What you know? Void public void math int x comma int y. Static void main. Static void main. I'm just going to create the instance of the class name local functions obj is equals to new local functions, and I'll call the method obj.math, passing to values to it. Passing to values to it. So what's my requirement? What is my requirement is? What is my requirement is? Just hold on. Huh? The requirement is something like this. When you call this, we pass it two numbers. Now, in the two numbers, it has to calculate me the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. For all the four numbers, for the two numbers, I want to get the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So, in C# 7, they introduced a concept here. What the concept is? How do you write the code? Basically, how do you write the code? Console.writeLine, console.writeLine, like add x plus y. Subtract x minus y. Like this, we can write the code. This is one way you can just write up your particular code. Okay, you can write this. But actually, what happened is, in C# 7, they just introduced a concept called as local functions and said that you can divide this particular code into small blocks. Something like void add means local function. This is called as a local function, means a function inside a function. Watch it. A function inside a function, that is called as a local function. You can just divide it like this, void add. And here I'm writing the logic, console.writeLine add function x plus y. Void sub x minus y. Multiply x into y. Divide x by y. Okay, and now you can just directly call the methods add, sub, multiply, divide. Now you say you call the math method by passing the values. That will internally call you the four methods and execute now. You call one method. What is that? Which method? Math method. And what math method is doing? Math method is internally calling you the four methods and executing the things to you. You'll be having a doubt, sir, what is the need? What is the advantage of writing the code like this? I'll tell you. See, tomorrow you're writing a method here, some method, public void demo. In this method, some 1,000 lines of code is there. Some 1,000 lines of code. I'll just find out and upload it. I'll just find out and ask him to upload it. Okay. So public void demo, and there is some 1,000 lines of code which is present in this. Okay. So now if you understand about this one, some 1,000 lines of code that is available to you here. And here, notice when you have this 1,000 lines of code, here, Okay, a lot of coding is going to be present in this. Some different scenarios. I'm writing the code for reprinting the values. By using some loop. Means in this 1,000 lines of code only, I'm writing the code reprinting the values in a loop now. Okay, I'll show you an example. Watch it. I'll show you a small example. Okay, have a look on this code here. Have a look on this code. I declared one array and I'm writing the code for performing some different actions. Say called a sort method, printing the values of the array. Reverse method, printing the values of the array. Copy method, printing the values of the array. And the first, I'm printing all the values of the array. Now look at this code. How many times did I write the logic for printing the values of the array? Come on, look at this and tell me. How many times did you write the logic for printing the values of the array? Watch and tell me. All these four times you're doing in the same method only, no? Is it not code duplication? Now tell me. Without writing the code like 4 times, why can't I write this code in a method, in a local function and call it for 4 times now? Did you get my question? 4 times you're repeating the code. Without that, my idea is simply write this code in a local function and call it for 3 times in that now. Is it going to eliminate the redundancy or not? That is the advantage here. That is the advantage of local functions. These functions scope will be within this only. See, I want the printing code only in this method, So I don't want to write a public method, a local method I'll write, and I'll call the method for multiple times in the same class now. I will call the method for multiple times in the same class. So that no need of repetition now. There is no requirement of the repetition. Simply I can call this particular method in one particular place now. Okay, so this is going to be the advantage if at all you just use the concept of the local functions. By using local functions, you can simply write up your logic. So these are introduced in C#7 actually. These are introduced in C#7. In C#7 they introduced. Okay. In C#8 what they done is, nothing special. They have simply said that now local functions can be static also. See, right now they are not static. Now if you want, you can declare the local function as static. See now, static void. Okay, static void mod. Static void mod. Okay, I'm declaring a static function. You can declare this as static also. And basically, if you declare this as static, see, like how the dev method was consuming x and y, how the dev method is consuming x and y, the mod method cannot consume x and y. The mod method cannot consume x and y. Did you understand? How the dev method is consuming x and y, the mod method cannot consume x and y. See, why? Non-static members of a class cannot be accessed from a static block directly. You know that is one of the rule of object-oriented programming. Non-static members of the class or the non-static members cannot be directly accessed in static block now. They cannot be accessed in the static block now. So you cannot consume them. See, this is invalid code now. Mod of x by x percentile y is invalid code. Why is the code invalid? Why is the code invalid? The code is invalid because Jugnu Raj, nothing is in my hands about the voice. Voice will not be in my control. I cannot help you on that. That is a problem on your devices only. Okay. So you can just note it that static void main, and here this code is invalid. I cannot write like this. Why? X and Y are not accessible. So if you want it, I should create an instance of the class and access it, or otherwise I need to pass that X and Y again separately. I need to pass X and Y separately here. And when I'm calling, I should say mod of X comma Y. So this X and Y is again separately passed to the method to get the results. I really did not find any special advantage why Microsoft has added this static local functions. I did not really understand what did the Microsoft gain of adding the static local functions. There is no special advantage I found in static local functions. Local functions are good. I given you an example. Local functions are pretty good, but not static local functions. I don't know why they just added this particular option or the concept called as static local functions. But everything Microsoft added you and telling you how to do it. But some things I cannot really tell you why they just introduced this concept. Even Microsoft also, if you go to the documentation also they said that you can do local, but why to do this? Sorry, you can do static locals, but why to do this? There is no information from Microsoft also still, because these are new features here. All these new features, it takes time to elaborate by the people, advantages of it and all the things. Day one, we cannot just understand like what is the need of it. Even Microsoft has to tell that, and Microsoft did not clearly mention the reason what is the need of a static local function. Okay, but I can just tell you how to define it. So I just shown you how to define a static local, and as per my knowledge, I did not find any special advantage. I hope I'm clear. Next, ranges, indices and ranges. Watch. What is this indices and ranges? What is this indices and ranges? Okay, see, basically the interface is for accessing array values here. For accessing array values. How do we access array values? By using index. By using index. Okay, just a minute. Indices and ranges. Indices and ranges. You just answer my question. How do we access the values of an array? How do we access the values of an array? If you want to access the values of an array, what do you do? By using wrong answer. Why for each loop here? Why you're talking about for each loop? How do you access the values of an array? Index, that is the answer here. Why you're talking loop, for each loop, all this nonsense. How do we access the values of an array? By using index. Index starts from 0 to 0 to n minus 1, not m. 0 to n minus 1. Okay, yeah, have a look. String colors is equals to, I'm declaring a set of colors here. Now see, I want you to print the values of this array now. For int I is equals to 0, I dot colors dot length I plus plus, console dot write colors of I plus some space. I am printing all the values on the same line, console dot write line and console dot write line. Yeah, this is an old story. I did not tell you anything newly. This is a very old story. Okay, but right now in C#8, they introduced a concept called indices, and you can access the values of your array in another way also. You can access the values of the array in another way also. Okay, what is the other way? I'll tell you. Red, blue, green, black, white, yellow, brown, purple, and magenta. All the values are taken. Now, if you talk about the indexes, what are the indexes? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And another way how you can access from C#8 is you can use a the caret operator here. You can use the caret operator here and you can access the values like this. This is the new style of accessing array values. This is the new style of accessing the array values. In the reverse order, you can pick the values like this. Not from 0, it starts from 1. So what is the index of the first value? In this mechanism, the index of the first value is 0. In this mechanism, what is the index of the first value? In the second mechanism, what is the index of the first value? I'm not satisfied with your answer here. You're telling 8, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with your answer. What is the index of the first value? Length here, length. Why you're telling, how do you know always 8 only will be there? Why are you telling 8 now? Tomorrow 10 will be there. 20 will be there. How are you telling 8? It is length, the number of items. Did you get my point? Today I have 8 items, it is 8 here. Tomorrow if you have 10 items, it is 10 now. The index of the first value will be, yes, array dot length. Okay, in the new concept. So what we are calling this as index, and these are called indices. We are calling index value, and now we call them as indices now. And now this is going to be the caret of 8 now, and the last value will be 1 now. The last value will be 1. First value will be array dot length. Last value will be 1. This is a new style what they introduced for accessing the values. And you see, I'll print you the values in the new style also. Watch it. How do you write? For int I is equals to. Tell me, what is the index of the first value? Index of the first value. colors dot length. The index of the first value is colors dot length now. Now tell me, you want to run the loop up to what condition? Condition. Tell me the condition. You want to run the loop up to 1. Up to 1 means when I greater than 0. Will this work out? I greater than or equal to 1 is also right only. I greater than 0 is also fine now. Next, I plus plus. And I'll say console dot write colors of. But when I say colors of I, problem now. Why colors of I means? Colors of I means first only error will come off now. Why colors of I means colors of 8. Colors of 8 means error out of index out of range. Index out of range, if you run this, you'll get off an error. Index out of range. What should I write? Caret operator, and then I should use now. Got it? See, you'll get it. Oh, sorry. I've written I plus plus here. There's a mistake. I minus. I'm sorry. Yeah, got it. See. This is a new style what they introduced for accessing the values. Accessing the values now. Actually, some of the features really, what is the need of them means. Some of the features really what is the need of them means. They're copying these particular features from other languages here. Some other language is providing, so I am also providing. Some other language is providing, so I am also providing. Some features are like that only. Really, if you just understand, okay, that language has, so this language also has. What is the need if you put it secondary, but some of the features are like copying from some existing languages. Okay, but now onwards, this is another style how you can access the values of an array. Next. The next thing is they introduced here. That's what I'm telling you. The day one today, I cannot tell you what is the need of it. I cannot really tell you what is the need of it. Whatever is available, I'm just telling you. Okay. So that's what I'm telling you. I too need to have a lot of understanding. So why this key feature? What is the advantage? Where do you use it? Don't know. But whatever features are available, I'm just listing you all the features. See, not only I'm just telling you point by point. You just watch it, directly go to a Microsoft site or other videos who has just been given up about the features and all. No one was giving the explanation what is the use of it. They were only telling you this is available to you. So a lot of R&D should be done on it still by the developers to come to a conclusion, okay, this is the advantage, this is the advantage. It may take some time. Okay, see, 8 only recently introduced, and now they have proposed of 9 already. 8 only recently introduced, and they proposed of 9 already. The proposal for 9 already is present now. C# 9. We are not clear with 8 features. Or not only clear with 8 features, I bet most of the people still are not clear with the 7 features only. And now 8 features and next 9. So they're adding up the new things like this. So it takes time for us to understand or cope up with all the appropriate things. Okay, fine. This problem is not here. This problem is present in every language. In every language, this is a common problem. They will be adding up new features. Before we just come to know what are the use of them, only new language will come, new versions will come, new features will add up. Fine. Now next, they given us an option, new option for us here to access the values from the arrays. Another option to access the values from the arrays. Not like another option means to access. I want to get all the values of the array. I want to get all the values of the array. When you want to get all the values of the array, I don't have any soft copy. What I am showing you, that is only. I did not prepare any notes still. What you want to handle? The question handle is used for handling an exception. What do you mean to ask? How to handle in real time? Vasu. That's all. Subject cannot be induced in the brain, no? So basically requirements will be there. Okay, when you're just working, suddenly if you feel that, okay, this feature can be used there, you use it there, that's all. Did you get my point? You're developing an application here, suddenly you have a requirement. So if you feel that, array, this feature can be utilized here, utilize it, that's all. There are no standards, we need to use this feature here, this feature here. That is all our understanding. So once we go, so we just start working up, then okay, based on the different features available, we need to think on ourselves, okay, this feature will fit here, we can use it here, that's all. Okay, now another thing what they just given you is ranges. This ranges, one is indices, second one is ranges. This ranges has basically one advantage here. What do you know? I want to get all the values of the array. Okay, so they introduce the concept here. If you put like this, it will provides access to all values of array. This is going to provide you access to all the values of the array. A new style of accessing the values from the array now. If I write like this means I can access all the values. Okay, and I will look. Suppose if I write like this, what you know? 2 ... provides access from second value to last. Did you people understand? Simple ... means provides access to all values. Okay, and if I say 2 ... means provides access from second value to last. Okay, next. I'm writing like this. Any guess? Any guess what it gives? Provides access to what? Yeah, perfect, funny. 1, 2, 3. Access values from 1 to 3. Okay, next. 2 ... 4. Values from 2 to 4. So this feature, I feel that this is a good option. This is a good option, I feel like. Why this is a good option? Because tomorrow when you want to pick values, some values of an array, we need to write for loops here. By writing a for loops is a big hell. Why? If you want to get 2 to 4 means condition writing, all these things will become a nuisance. But what about a for each loop? For each loop will provide access to all values every time. For each loop will provide access to one value, particular values or all values. For each loop will provide you access to all values or one value. All value. Which one is easy to write, for loop or for each loop? Which one is easy to write, for loop or for each loop? Undoubtedly for each loop. Undoubtedly for each loop is easy. But problem with for each loop is for each loop will give me access to all values. But advantage with for loop is with for loop I can get particular values by setting the index position. If I say I is equals to 1, I is equals to 1, I less than or equal to 3, then it will give me access to 2 to 4. Like this, I need to keep on changing the conditions always. I need to keep on changing the conditions always. Okay. So, but without that particular problem, see now, we know that for each str in colors, it will give access to all the values. Okay. Console.write str plus some space. Just a minute to separate the outputs. I'm adding a line break here. And console.write. And if you watch, yeah, I'm getting access to all the values. And this code is as the same as writing like this. You can write like this. This code is as the same as writing like this. See, both of them are going to give access to all the values now. Okay, watch now. I'm writing ... I'm just going to write here 2 ... See, you see, you're getting access from where? Green, black, white, yellow, purple. Means from the second is index position. The second is nothing but the index position. You're getting the index position. 2 to end of the day. 2 means third value to end of it. Are you clear? I said, yeah, values from second value, not second value, second index to last value. This is better I should say third value, because index position, my intention is to talk about the index position. Okay, so third value to last value. See there, third value to last value. Now, I'm just going to write ... 3. ... 3 means .3. Are you clear? You'll get up to 3. You are going to get up to 3 now. Yeah. Next. Two, 5. See now. 2 up to 5. Okay, you're just getting green, black, white. Okay, so starting from 2 up to 5. So now see, first I asked you a question. No. Basically it will give you starting from the index position 2 to index position 5. The meaning is index position 2 to index position 5. 2 3. Okay, I'm sorry. The calculation is done like this here. Starting from index position 2 and up to the count value 5. This 5 value means count will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So count will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the index of the start is going to be, the starting index is going to be second. So it will start from the index position 2 and up to fifth value, means it will count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you clear? This is the starting index position. This is the starting index position, but this is not the ending index position. This is not the ending index position. What is this? This is count. This is count up to the count. Count will start from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start with the index position 2, and from there up to the count 5, it is going to return green, white, black. Green, white, and black. Okay, and here also, what is this? This is going to be starting from the index position 0. I want 3 items. Second one is always count. The second one is all count. 3 means starting from 0, 3. Okay, 3 means 1, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. When I use it like this is the index position. This is the starting index position. Starting index position 2. 2 means green. Green, black, white, yellow, purple. So the first parameter is index, but the second parameter is count. Yeah, index starts from 0, count starts from 1. Index starts from 0 and count starts from 1. The first parameter is index and the second parameter is count. Okay. Now tell me, this feature looks good now? This feature looks good or not? See, because till now, what is the problem with our for each loops? The problem with for each loops is for each loop is giving access to all values now. But now I can get selected values by using for each loops. Now I can get selected values by using the for each loops. So this makes the things much easier for me to get the things now. Okay. So this is what our indices and ranges. Indices and ranges. Third one, enhancements of interpolated verbatim strings. Enhancements of interpolated verbatim strings. This is a small thing here. This is a very small thing, nothing special about it. Do you know writing a string like this? All of you are aware. Why do we use a dollar before a string? Need to go have a meeting. May know where. What where? YouTube. Naresh IT. Naresh IT YouTube. YouTube/Naresh IT Soumya. YouTube/Naresh IT. You can go there. Okay, all the recordings will be available. We'll post it over there. Yeah, tell me, do you know why do we use this dollar before a string? Someone asked this question actually yesterday. So putting them in the mind and just telling. What's this here? Int x is equals to 100. Int y is equals to 50. Int z is equals to x plus y. And now I'm writing console.writeLine. Yeah, console.writeLine, and I'm writing sum of x and y is z. What is the output? What is the output of this here? Sum of x and y is z. What is the output of this? It will print you same only. It will print you same only. So listen, the value of x and the value of y and the value of z will not be substituted here. So to overcome this problem, in the earlier versions of C#, we used to write the code like this, we used to write the code like this. What is it? Placeholders. Now what is the output? Now what is the output? Okay, but this is becoming lengthy. To overcome this problem, in C# 6.0, they introduced a feature. What is the feature? You know, put a $sign before the string. And use your variables inside the curly braces like this. Use the curly braces like this. Basically, we call it as a string interpolation. What is the output now? Now also the output is sum of 100 and 50 is 150. Now also we get the output like this. Are you clear? Someone said don't know. Are you clear now? This was introduced in C# 6.0. Put a $sign before and your variables directly enclosed in the curly braces so that the values will be substituted in the appropriate location. Okay, fine. Now a small thing what they added for us in the new version. What is the new, they added for us in the new version? Watch. What they added is, I'm going to take a class here. We'll name the class as string interpolation. Look here. I want to write a string file name is equals to, just a minute. Yesterday in our folder, what is the folder? Workshop folder. We have a folder called demo.txt. I want to read from that now, and to read I'm using a stream reader class. Stream reader sr is equals to new stream reader, and here I'm going to write it. What? E drive. What's the folder? The folder is workshop. And actually, when you're writing a slash here, you're getting error. Have you noticed it? Slash is giving an error. Why slash is giving an error? Because slash is an escape character. Slash n, slash t, slash n, new line, slash t, character. Like this, slash is an escape character. There is no escape character called as a slash w. So that's why what is it telling you? Unrecognized escape sequence. Whenever you use a slash, the compiler will treat it like an escape character. So now it is telling you I don't have any escape character called slash w. Suppose your folder name starts with T. Now you won't get, suppose your folder name is going to start with T. Now you won't get any error, see? But still, the computer is not going to take it like a folder name. Remember, the computer is taking it like an escape character. It will take like an escape character. But what is your intention? Escape character or path? Your intention is to represent this like escape character or path. This is an escape character or path. So to overcome this problem, we are given with two options. What are the two options? One option is use double slash. One option is use double slash. Just a minute. Are you clear? Are you clear how we represented the path now? And here see, I concatenated the file name, so demo.txt will come in automatically. Okay. Now, second option what Microsoft given is, one option is use double quotes, double slash. Second option is, if I use single quote, I can prefix this with a @ sign. I can prefix it with a @ sign. One option is, okay. So one option is double quote. Second option is using @. Do you know this? Do you know this or not, using @? Yeah, basically if you don't know, yeah, this is for you mainly. What is it? Without using double slashes, most of the people you learned in the C# classes, without using double slashes, we use @. Okay, well, now I have a dollar here, I have a @ here, both are present. Now the question arises, which one should come first and which one should come next? Now the question arises, dollar first, @ first. Did you people understand? If both are present, dollar first, @ first. Up to C#7, dollar first. Up to C#7, dollar first. From C#8, that is your choice. From C#8, that is your choice here. No restriction now. Now there is no restriction. No restriction, no restriction. Now you can write front and back anyway you can write. See here? While str is equals to sr dot read line not equal to null and console dot write line str. Console dot write line str. Okay, now it is going to read from that file. You remember yesterday you created that file. You created that particular file yesterday with 5 strings in it. Yesterday you created that file with the 5 strings in it. I'm just reading that particular value back again. That's all. I'm going to read that particular 5 strings back again. Alright, this is first line, this is second line, like this you have written now. You're just going to read it back. String interpolation. The same code if you try to write in is 7. If you write the same code in 7, the same code if you write in 7, dollar first, @ next. But from 8 onwards, they said that you write any way you want. This also works. Are you clear? Tell me, are you clear? So from 8 onwards, there is no restriction in the order of this. But up to 7, there is a serious restriction in the order of this. Okay? Up to 7, there is a serious restriction in the order of this. I'll show you later. I'm closing this project. I'll open any of the old projects here. Any old projects. I have a Windows project here. This is a framework project, 7.2. 10.2. And in this project, somewhere I'm just going to add this code. Somewhere I'm going to add this code. Okay. Okay, look at this. You're getting an error, see? To use $$ instead of $S for interpolated verbatim string. Please use language version 8.0 or greater. If you want to use like this, what is it telling you? You require to use 8.0 or greater version. Did you understand me? To use $$ instead of $S for an interpolated verbatim string, please use language version 8.0. But what did I say? Framework supports until 7.3 only. Framework doesn't support 8. 8 compulsory, you require to go for core only. Only core projects only. So older version, how should I write? $. Now see, no error. Okay. So this is another simple option. Okay. See, advantage, nothing like advantage. It is giving you a flexibility, that's all. Here, we really don't have any advantages or anything. A simple flexibility without staying like write code like this. It is telling you like this also we can write. So today we completed up all these particular things. Tuple patterns, positional patterns, static local functions, indices and ranges, enhancements of interpolated verbatim strings. Clear? I'll wind up here and we'll continue tomorrow. Where a copy paste? You're asking for the code, Vasu, or the values? Values you're asking, huh? Values are 1, 2, if you have 0, 1, 2. Yeah, we'll upload it. I did not understand your question, Vasu. I did not prepare anything here. I did not prepare anything, just typed and shown you, that's all. I typed and show you red, blue, green, green, black, white. I closed it off, yeah. Once I complete, I'll close off. I just closed it off. I typed and shown you, that's all, white. This one only now you're asking. This is 0 and this is negation of 8. This is what you're asking also? It's not open here, it's closed. It's closed, I don't have. Okay, anyhow, I'll upload the video now, watch in the video. Anyhow, we'll upload the video, watch in the video also. Yeah, we'll upload the video. We'll upload the video. Avinash, don't worry. We'll upload the video. Also, this is what you're asking. Check it out.